Okay, so guys, today we're ranking the classes in Legend of Ymir, and before we start, I'll be dividing this video into two parts. First, I'll share the best classes based on my own personal experience, and just to be clear, guys, this is totally my opinion as someone who loves farming in MMO games. Please don't see me as a pro gamer or anything like that. So just take what makes sense for you and always just ignore the parts that don't. Then for the second part, guys, I'll share what the Korean community thinks based on the guides, based on the articles and videos that I've been checking out while researching this game. So yeah, let's start first with my own experience. So guys, when the game launched around March, my very first character was actually the Skald, and the Skald, if you don't know, is kind of a support class. But what's cool about her is that she can also farm on her own. And at that time, I didn't really have any comparison yet because I hadn't tried any other class. But later on, I decided to create a second character, the Volva, which is basically the mage class in the game. And right away, I already noticed a big difference, like they are very opposite to each other. The Volva's attack speed is way faster than the Skald, like the Volva can kill mobs so much quicker and finish quests way faster too. But here's the catch, guys. When it comes to AFK long farming sessions, the Volva really struggles, like she uses a lot of potions super fast and keeps going back to town to resupply, while the Skald can actually survive much longer even though her attacks are slower. So yeah, between the two, I say both are good but in different ways. So I'll probably put them together in second place for now. And then guys, when the new server launched just last month with the new class, the Archer, I played again and I tried that one. And honestly guys, the Archer is just so good in this game. Like she farms fast, just like Volva, and in terms of survivability, she's actually great too. And I think that is because of her evasion passive stats or passive skills. So right now, based on my own experience, I will be putting Archer above both the Skald and the Volva. But again, this is just based on my experience in farming. Now, let's talk about the melee classes, the Warlord and also the Berserker. So here's the thing, guys. Based on my experience with Korean MMOs, and I think most of you will agree on this, playing melee characters during the early days like day 1 or day 2 is just totally a pain. Like imagine this, guys. The map is crowded with ranged characters shooting from a distance while you are there running around just trying to get close enough to hit something. So yeah, early on day 1 or day 2, it's kinda rough or hard for melee players. But that doesn't mean they're really bad. Not at all, guys, because in fact later I'll show you why the Warlord is actually one of the community's favorite classes in Korea. But for me personally, as a farmer type player, I usually stick with ranged characters. So when Global comes out, I'll probably go with Skald and then either Volva or Archer. Alright, now let's move on to what the Korean community thinks, and this part might actually surprise you. When the game first launched, Volva was the #1 favorite, and that makes sense because again, she's super fast in farming and leveling. But then something interesting happened, guys. The economy, guys. The economy is totally different because so many players were playing Volva at that time. The materials needed to upgrade her became super expensive. Like for example, a Volva skill book could cost around 500 diamonds while other classes books might only cost like 10. That's how crazy it got. So what happened next is that players started switching to Warlord, and the reason is pretty simple. It's cheaper to upgrade. Yeah, let's say upgrading Volva to a certain level costs you 3000 diamonds, and for the same progress you might only spend 500 diamonds on a Warlord. That's a huge difference. But anyway guys, those numbers are just a sample just to show you the gap difference. And aside from that, Warlord also became popular for PvP because of his skill set. Like he got a lot of knockdown skills, which means if you're fighting against one, you'll spend half of the fight lying on the ground. It's super annoying but really super strong based on what the community are talking about. So later in the game, Warlord actually became the #1 favorite in Korea. If you check the rankings on Korean website, you'll see that the #1 and even #2 spots are actually Warlords. But again, just to clarify, that didn't happen during the early days of the game. It was more like after players had already settled in and started progressing. Then when Archer came out just last month, of course everybody want to try the new class, and just like before with the issue of supply and demand for Volva, because so many people switch to Archer, her upgrade materials also became super expensive. Like in our server right now, there are actually so many archers. Like for example, look at the rankings, all of this, or I mean most of these are archers, and even in our clan almost everyone is an archer. So yeah, that explains why everything for archer is now very costly. Next, again, we have the Skald. Like I mentioned earlier, her attack speed is slower, but she's way more sustainable in a long AFK farming, obviously because of her healing skills. That's why in the community, Skald is actually the favorite class for people who are really busy, like office workers who cannot play actively all day. So she's kind of the chill and low maintenance class. And then guys, again, there's the Volva, again the mage class. As I said, she's faster at killing mobs, but she need a lot of attention. You always have to check her potion and positioning. So in short, Skald and Volva have opposite strength and weaknesses, which is why the community usually ranks them together. Now, lastly, we have the Berserker. Honestly, I don't really hear much about this class. Even here in the market in our server that I'm playing right now, you will notice that the materials for upgrading Berserker are actually super cheap, which means not a lot of people are actually playing it. Like there's no demand for the materials for the market. And some players even say that the Skald is actually more of a tank than the Berserker, which is kind of funny when you think about it. The only really good thing I heard about Berserker is that he has a skill that pulls enemies together, which can be pretty useful in the clans war. But still, again guys, I believe history will always repeat itself. There's always this one advantage of using a class that's not popular. It's always cheaper to upgrade. So if you're planning to invest real money into the game, it might be smart to go for a less popular class, since their materials will always be cheaper. And interestingly guys, even though Berserker is not a community favorite, if you look at the top 5 players in the Korean server, them are actually Berserkers. So yeah, maybe the underdog has potential for those who will go for the pay to win route. But as for me guys, since I'm more of a free to play farmer, I will probably stick with Volva or Archer and then use Skald as my support or slave character. So yeah, obviously guys, I'll be using 2 characters in the global release, because in this game guys, you are allowed to play maximum of 2 in one device or in your PC. So I think that's it for now guys. Again, this is not a pro ranking or anything serious. It's just based on my experience and what I learned from the community. And guys, let me know what class you're playing in or planning to main. I'd love to hear your thoughts, especially if you tried some of the melee class. And maybe next time we can talk about farming setups or progression tips. But anyway guys, again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right.